Hello, tubers and tubettes. My name is David, and I live in Northern California. I remember I started looking at expat videos in Southeast Asia and just all in that area, Philippines, Cambodia, Vietnam. And I was kind of looking at it so that I didn't have to go there. I actually was looking at it so that I could learn and see and imagine how life is there, but not have to actually go there. I'm actually I'm half Japanese, and I have some land in Japan, and so there's always a possibility that I could go and live there and build a house and be around my relatives and stuff. But as nice as that sounds, and I do love the Japanese culture, I'm not going to Japan. I live in California. I'm about as Japanese as you are if you're another American. I mean, I admire their society and everything else, but I don't speak very much Japanese, and it would be very, very isolating to me. To me, it would be a very lonely experience. I would go there, and I would definitely miss a lot of my relatives here, and my children, definitely, my grandson, oh yeah, and my job. I'm still working. I really love my job. It's very creative. I always say that I'm like a professional visitor because I get to go to people's houses and they want me to be there, and they can't wait till I get there. Sometimes they come walking out to my car to help me carry in my drafting stuff, and then I get to meet them, and I like talking to them about their lives, and I like to design something, and it's nice for them, when they're very impressed, with the drawing. It's not, I don't consider it super impressive. It's just something I've been doing for 40 years, so I really like it. And then giving them a good price, and then sometimes selling the pool, and then they get this dream that they've really, really wanted for a long time. So being a pool designer and a salesman, it's my identity. Usually whenever there's questions around parties or whatever, they'll be like, oh, Dave knows about swimming pools. And I do know enough, just to be dangerous, but it is nice to have that, and it's really hard for me to let that go, just to say that I'm going to retire and not ever do that again. Now, I think there will come a time, maybe because of my arthritis or my health problems, that I may end up having to do that. But I would hate to leave and go live somewhere else, just to, and then end up losing that. So I came across a blogger yesterday, a vlogger, and it's called The Philippine Life Through the Eyes of an Expat. And this guy's name is Steven. And I mean, what a refreshing voice, from this guy. I really think that he embodies the way that I think about things. And he's actually married to a Filipino gal over there with a small son. And he's from England, so of course you gotta love that that accent. But I think he just says it like it is. I mean, he really just says things like it is. And I'm sure he's going to get some grief for that, because people are just so jealous, when you become successful. And I hope he does become successful. I mean, he does work. He works for a California company, so he's a digital nomad. I'm sure it's not a lot of money. He says it's not. He doesn't have a pension or anything. He's still too young to have a pension. But some of the things I was listening to him yesterday, it's really the kind of information I think people need to have, not all positive. I saw one of his subscribers leaving a comment about a pretty famous vlogger over there, Paul, in the Philippines. And I like Paul in the Philippines. He's entertaining to watch. But this guy had said something that he's nothing more than a used car salesman, and he uses his wife, as clickbait. And that is one thing that was really kind of, couldn't put my finger on it, but, he'd have these pictures of his wife in really short skirts, or not skirts, short hot pants, and things like that. And it is kind of weird. I mean, I would never do that. Well, obviously my wife is not as skinny as his wife, but it's really weird that he does use that, and I guess everybody, I mean, he's very successful, so if the measure of how good you are is based on your success, then he's doing great. He's doing the right things. But this guy Steven is like a breath of fresh air for me, because he really pretty much says it like it is, and he's unapologetic about it. Some of the things that it points out as I'm watching it is it really makes me appreciate my life here in California. I really love it here. I mean, I love the weather. I love the people. I love it. Almost everything about it. Yeah, there's some things I would want to have changed and stuff, but it's very safe. Where I'm at, it's not too crazy. I mean, we've had political people come and, block a intersection in our town, and we're like, whoa, this is pretty cool, because, we just don't get that. Nobody cares about little Lodi. But I have a buddy that's coming in today. He's coming in at 3 o'clock, and he had gone through throat cancer, and he would not have made it had it not been the great medical that he had. Plus, his wife was an emergency room nurse. She's a very, very good lady. Very good lady, Kelly. And it's going to be interesting because Frank has his new girlfriend, and he's bringing her down, Jerry. She seems to be nice. I haven't really talked to her other than saying hi, but I guess we're going to get to know her because they're going to be down here for about 4 days. And hanging out at our house. So I just ended up shampooing all the carpets yesterday by myself. Just about killed me. But it's going to be nice to have him come down. He's coming in at 3, and then we're going to a restaurant here, a local Italian restaurant. And we invited my brother and sister-in-law because they know him too. They know him well. He was in my wedding. I would say 36 years ago. He was in my wedding. And so Kelly was a nurse, and she really took care of him. He had throat cancer, and it just crazy because he doesn't smoke. That's a weird thing, and never has. But he had to have his cut from here all the way around to access this cancerous nodule he had on his throat. And he couldn't talk for a whole year, which is hard because Franco is a talker. He likes to talk. I'm hoping to get some videos of him because he's funny. His nickname is the Breeze Man, so because of his last name. So then after he had his cancer, then Kelly got cancer. And I think it started out as breast cancer, but it was a small but very aggressive cancer. And so she held in there for, I'm going to say, 2 to 3 years, and we saw her probably about 8 months ago. She was really confined to the living room. And again, without the medical treatment that she had and the she had some experimental chemo, she would never have lived as long as she did, And I don't care if you're living in the Philippines and you're eating fish and you have no stress, I do think that there's people dying over there of cancer too. It's nice to have the medical establishment that we have here to deal with it. Over the years, I've had a couple of medical emergencies where I've had to go to the emergency room. I had to have my gallbladder and my appendix removed. I also had another one when I went to Vegas. We're at a layover and I had to be hospitalized. So it's so nice to have you know, these super professional people that take care of you, and tremendous amount of technology, you know, that is just focused on you to get you well. And so another reason I don't see myself going and living in a foreign country. But probably the biggest thing of all is I've been married for 37 years this year. This year will be 37 years. To just a really great lady. You know, we go to church together. We raised our 3 children together. I mean, I would do anything for her. You know, if there was some kind of procedure where she needed my heart, I would give that to her, because I just really care about her a lot. And I know, and I realize I'm smart enough to realize that this does not come that often. You know, she's very smart, which is very attractive to me when I first met her. And she's a senior paralegal for a major corporation. And so I really like that. I really like somebody that is at that level, that we can have some pretty serious talks, you know. And neither one of us are super political, but at least we are in the same political bend. And I think it's really hard, you know, to find that person. And one of the things I was watching this morning was Stephen from Filipino Life. Had to do with transactional relationships. He didn't call it that, but he tried to explain, try to understand why a 20-year-old Filipino lady would be with a 70-year-old man. And I mean, I think he did a really good job of explaining it, but, you know, not putting anybody down. You know, if this is what they want, then that's what they're going to get, but don't think that it's love, you know. And I think for what he was saying, one of the things I thought was that, you know, I have what I have because of Kim. We built it together. And when you're both on the same level financially, and then you stay together because you really want to be together, you know. We started out poor, so now we're doing really well and everything's looking really good. So it's nice to have been with one person from the very beginning. I can't BS her at all, because she knows me, you know, to the core. My good, my bad, everything she knows about me. And I know the same with her. You know, I know her insecurities and everything else. And so I think that is somewhat rare. We have a lot of friends that have that kind of a relationship, and I think sometimes you tend to be attracted to people that are like that. But, you know, living my Western life in Northern California, and like tonight, going to this really nice restaurant. I know the owners of the restaurant. It doesn't help me out at all, but it's really nice to be able to go and experience, you know, a nice night out dining. Oh yeah, it's going to be expensive, but, you know, we have the money. We don't stress about that. So I do feel like this is kind of like one life that you have to live, which Stephen was talking about this. But my different slant on it is live it. You know, he said the same thing. But there's so many experiences that you can have. And if you have a good income and you have a stable, you know, lifestyle, and you have a home that's paid for, and you can live in an area that it'd be hard for somebody to come and move here. It would be hard. But if you've lived here, like we've been in our house, this year will be 21 years, then it starts to become easier and easier and easier. You know, you can't even rent a house for as much as, you know, what we have on our house. I mean, we still have to pay taxes and insurance and everything else, but it's still nice to finally reach that pinnacle. I have seen some people that have gotten divorced right at this time. They're just tired of the wife. They want to go somewhere else. They think the grass is greener. But I'm like, oh my God, they just made it through the promised land. You know, they raised their kids and they did a great job. And Now they want to get a divorce, you know. It's sad. And then sometimes we'll run into them later and they'll tell us, oh, that was the worst mistake I ever made. They don't have to tell me that, I know that. But that's what I think is, I would not want to be into a situation where I have like no assets, I have no money, I'm waiting for that pension to start, and I'm going to go move to the Philippines. I give them a lot of credit, you know, because I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I have too many friends and family and relationships with people here. Even the simple thing of coming to the AM/PM, and they always like to say, oh, Mr. David, Mr. David, Mr. David. I go, yeah. Mr. David, do you want some lottery tickets? No, my tickets are still good. Oh, okay. Good luck. Like, it's really nice, you know, to have these little things that you go through every day, and people that you end up, you know, going and touching your life, and you're touching their life. I try to be nice to everybody. But I wish I could be as succinct as Stephen is, you know, and I do. That is my goal, is to be that way and try to say things as honestly as possible. You know, not any kind of bragging type of. I don't want to be that type of person. I want to try to let people know that, hey, there's nothing wrong with living in America. I mean, people are literally dying to get here, and there's a reason. You know, it's beautiful. It's great. It's a great life, you know. And well, one thing that was kind of weird is I talked to Franco before about when he lost his wife. She kind of set everything up for him. They bought a new house in a 55-year-old community, and he had a lot of friends already, you know, going to the community center, and he has a very outgoing personality. But I remember I was watching Philippine videos in particular, and I was like, hey, what about a Filipino, you know, when he was looking around, when he was looking for a wife. And he goes, yeah, I grew up next to a Filipino family, and this was in New Jersey. And he goes, I would hear them arguing and everything, and just not even arguing, but just talking. And he said that that language, he couldn't understand it. He goes, but it was like, for years he would listen to that, and it would have be like nails on a chalkboard. He said, I can't handle that, you know, I just can't handle that. And I was recently telling a couple of friends at camp about Franco finding a girlfriend, and the way he found her, he was at a concert, he accidentally stepped on her feet because his feet are so big, and that's how they met. And when I brought it up to my no, she's not single, she does have a boyfriend, but it's my cousin. The first thing out of her mouth, I almost didn't even finish saying it when I said that he had found a girlfriend. Well, how much younger is she than him? And I go, she's actually 1 year older than him. You know, he's in his, I would say 64, 65, and she's 66. You know, and that's what he wants. He wants somebody that they can have a good, and I mean, it's a brand new relationship, so anything could happen. But she had a long-term partner, and he died, I guess from cancer too. I'll know more after this weekend. But you know, so she didn't want to go on websites, you know, and she didn't want to go on like Tinder or any of these things. She was retired in CPA, so she's not a dumb lady either. And she's it'll be interesting to get to meet her, you know. And Franco's taken up a little hobby. He's doing stand-up comedy, which I don't really find him super funny for me personally, but it's like dad jokes. But I give him a lot of credit for going up there in front of everybody and doing his little 6-minute routines or whatever he does. So I'll probably be listening to some of his material over and over on this weekend, which is okay. So anyway, thank you, Stephen, in Philippine life through the eyes of an expat. It really was like a breath of fresh air, and I'm going to go back and watch more of your videos. I really enjoy just your, well, I like your English accent, but I also enjoy just your straightforward way that you talk. And keep doing what you're doing. You know, don't let the haters take you off subject, and just say it like it is, because that's what we're all wanting, is to have the truth, you know, the truth, and not all clickbait stuff. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope you guys will check out his channel if you're interested in that. I do like looking at other people and how they think and how their lives are, and how everything revolves around their little world, because I can look at it and I don't actually have to go there. I can feel, you know, what they feel without having to experience it. And that's what I love about YouTube. So thank you very much, and have a great day, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend too. Thank you much. Bye-bye.